Hi, this is Nick George with Clouds Diamond Sharpening, just to show you a video on sharpening grooming blades. We're going to go down to the table and learn how to assemble them and what we do and why you should use our services today. So these are just random clipper blades. We got a 5F with no spring or socket. This is a socket, this is a spring. We're gonna sharpen them and show you how they work and why using our services is so good. Well, first of all, it's $8 to $10 to sharpen a blade depending on what blade. And a blade is roughly $20 to $50 new. And so you save that money. And then also, it's sharper than when they're new. A lot of customers have new blades sharpened right out of the package because instead of being sharpened on a flat wheel, which doesn't give shape to the blade, we give shape to the blade to ensure that they cut for a long amount of time. If you oil your blade and get it sharpened through us, then your blades will last a lot longer than a new blade, I promise that. And it'll probably be sharper, and sometimes when you buy a new blade, they're not that sharp out of the package. And that's usually because they're sharpened on a flat wheel, or a flatter wheel at least. So we service clippers, all clippers with parts available, and if they don't have parts available, sometimes I can even fix them. We give free estimates, and it's important if you use a sharpener that he can fix your clipper, because that's 50% of the problem. So if your clipper doesn't work and you have sharp blades, it will leave lines in the cut, and then you'll have to go over it multiple times. If the blades are not sharp, then it will pull hair. So they both need to be correctly serviced to work 100%, which we want the blades to travel 100% and less effort. So we check the tension, less effort for the clipper to move this blade, which this one's pretty tight. It's probably 3 or 4 pounds of pressure. We're usually at 1.5 to 2 pounds of pressure. What that means is less heat on the blade, less wear and tear on the clipper. So, we don't want your clipper going bad. We don't want it getting hot, because once it gets hot, then parts usually start bending, because heat bends metal and shapes it badly. So we want these blades to have minimal tension so they can run the longest and the smoothest without getting as hot. So if I had 5 pounds of pressure, 3, 4 pounds, 3 is not bad, but we try to generally be under that. But if it's 3 pounds of pressure, it probably won't damage your clipper, but the blade will get really hot. If you're at 4 or 5 pounds, it's probably going to damage your clipper, almost 100% guarantee, because the clipper doesn't know to not move. It just keeps moving. So we want to have it with the least resistance, so the clipper breathes easier, it doesn't get as hot, it doesn't burn your brushes. Your brushes are what moves the motor, where the electricity goes to the motor, and if it's bad, like it's going to cause a blanket of carbon inside and cause a lot of heat. Plus, oiling your blades is important, because if you go into a dirty dog, then it doesn't sit there and grind in the blade. We also sharpen scissors with any edge and any degree of angle. So if it's convex, chunkers, thinners, any scissor, send it to us and we'll sharpen it up for you. Well, let's get to work here. So this is a guide, this is a spring, and this is a socket. This holds the tension, this holds it from rattling. So and this is where the hinge holds it to the clipper. So you always want to make sure your clipper blade's always engaged all the way to your clipper and it latches, because you don't want it lifting up and not cutting hair or pulling hair or getting your customer mad. So we'll take this blade apart also, and then we'll go to the sharpening table and sharpen them up and get you going again. So we use a diamond sharpening wheel that my grandpa invented, and what's good about this is it removes the least amount of metal and polish sharpens instead of grind sharpens, which other sharpening machines do. This can sharpen ceramic blades, 5-in-1 blades. We can do any blade, any size, as long as it can come apart to sharpen both sides, the comb and the cutter. This is the comb, this is the cutter. This cuts the hair, this is stationary, but it's important that this has the correct shape that matches this shape, so it can cut the sharpest and have the most minimal amounts of pressure. So that looks good. If you notice, it's all as sharp, so it's going to be really smooth, cause less heat, and cut a lot better. So if you notice, it's not done. So this blade wasn't oiled because you can tell it causes bigger pits in the running surface, and then I gotta sharpen it 2 or 3 times depending on if you don't use oil. Now if you can't use oil, I totally understand. You don't have to, but it will save you money on the clipper repairs and on the sharpening, because you'll have to get them sharpened less with oil, and your clippers will need minimal maintenance with oil on the blade. See, I told you it's going to be about 3 times. So in general, if you don't use oil, I tend to have to use the other sharpening wheel, which is still great because they have the same shape. But if you want your blades for the longest life, then I recommend oiling, and you'll go on this wheel. And if you don't oil, they will still last as long as this, but you won't get as many sharpenings out of it because the other one removes more metal faster. So here's the 2 blades that are sharpened and clean. If you ever see black stuff on your blades, you need to remove that immediately. You will probably never see it from me. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I do check them 2 times, maybe sometimes 3 times if I ever get it, and I will resharpen. So let's put these back together. Put a little oil on them. Oil is metal's best friend. Use it in your car, use it when you cook. I don't know if you ever had a skillet, but you want to oil your skillet or it will rust and the food probably won't be that good. Or you might have to go get a tetanus shot afterwards. So when I adjust these blades, I want you see the shiny part there? I want the cutting blade never to be up against it, because see how your skin goes in between it? That'll cut you. So if it's like right to the edge, like that, it will cut you. So I usually go a little back, because this blade is supposed to be stationary and it should just comb across your skin or hair. This will actually cut. But you can't just sharpen the teeth and expect this blade to cut. It's sharpened from the bottom and it's like hollowed out. So it's like that and then goes like that when it is used in hair. It eventually flattens out, and then once it goes flat, it is dull. That means the sides will probably pull first. Sometimes the middle does, but in general, the sides will pull. And the hair needs to not be pulled anywhere. Oh. See, I wasn't paying attention and I put this spring and socket on the wrong blade. Oh no, it was the right one. But anyway, I need to show you something. So there's a rail here. It's almost flat. You can see it's a little thicker right there on the rail because it's flat. So once these rails are gone, in general, you wouldn't want to use this blade because there's no space in between here and hair will get wedged in here. Sometimes I will sharpen them if they're flat, if the customer requests it. But in general, usually I stop sharpening it once it becomes once the rails become invisible. This one, it could probably go about 2 more times probably. So, and in general, depending on how much you use your clipper blades, usually in general, most groomers probably do 7 dogs a day. And they get about 10 blades every 3 months sharpened. So that's a lot cheaper than buying new blades, and they are always sharp. Like we check every single blade every single time, and for minimal amounts of pressure. See, that's a little hard for me. That's probably about 2.5 pounds, but I don't like it. So we're gonna go a little more, because that's just little more or less resistance. Ooh, that's beautiful. That's about 2 pounds, 1.5, 2 pounds. I like to be at 2 pounds, 1.5. Depending on what dog you do, it might pull hair. So I generally aim for 2 pounds. But yeah, so those are those together. And if you notice, the teeth do not hang over. Here, watch, we can line them up. See the little shiny spots? That's good. Alright, let's test these blades. So this is my clipper. It's good. It sounds like a diesel, but it's fine. It just needs new parts, but I use used parts because if it cuts on my clipper, it's for sure going to cut on your clipper. And in general, you want to have the clipper running. First of all, why should you have it running? Well, in case this is offset a little bit. Well, if it's offset a little bit, it won't engage. So then you got to line it up and then put it on. But now when I start it up, see, it has some hesitation, and what that's doing is jolting the power and having to arc on your commutator. What that means is the brushes make little black marks. They burn your motor, and then I gotta clean them off. Now it's fine if you don't want to, especially if you want to take it off. Push your latch in and then make sure it snaps down. See, that's not snapped down. So sometimes I gotta like push on my latch a little bit, like push it down, and then it latches. You always want it to latch or it could lift up and pull hair. So have it running. See that? And just pop it in, and then it's latched. Okay, when I want to release it, I push that in, pop it up. Now if I'm afraid I might cut my hands, well, just turn it off. It's not a big deal. And pop that latch in and pop the blade off. Okay, let's test these. So I know this isn't hair, but this is harder to cut than hair because it's cotton strands, a whole bunch of little of them. So if it cuts this, it for sure 100% cuts hair. See how easy it does it? Look, all the way across the blade. Why do I only check it in 3 spots? Well, I check it in 3 spots because this is the part that's hollowed out. So if this part cuts, then I already know these sides are gonna cut. Now if one side doesn't cut, your sharpening wheel might be bad, or a bad sharpener, or there could be multiple problems. Like you can have play in this drive and it wouldn't cut on one side. So you lock your bearing to the left or right and then wiggle. See, mine has a little play in it. So if this, you wouldn't want to use this for professional use, because what it would do is probably make little bitty lines in the cut. But as I'm telling you, is I'll probably replace it, but it's not that important to me as long as it cuts the string. Now we can try it with hair, and we will, because I want you to know I'm really telling the truth. And it cuts like perfect. Look at that, all the way across the blade. Like nothing. That's beautiful. Now let's try the hair. So this is synthetic wig hair. And let's just try it. I mean, I hope it cuts, or it's going to be super embarrassing. I mean, way easier than the string. So like I said, if it cuts the string, it's going to cut this hair even better. Let's try the other blade. Make sure it works too. We don't want to look bad. Oh, sorry, I had one hand, so I didn't engage it while it's running. Like I said, it probably won't ruin your clipper, but it will need to be serviced more. And sometimes it might stop working, and then you would have to get the commutator clean for it to work again. But man, that works beautiful. So that's all it is. Send them on today and we'll get all your equipment working. Anything you groom with, send it here and we can fix it. And if we can't fix it, we can recommend what you can do next. And we are here to save you money, and that is our goal. And if you have any questions, please call us and ask questions. We love educating customers, because I want you to do the best job so I can do the best job and we both look good. Thank you for this wonderful adventure. I had so much fun. I hope you like the new camera. We'll see how it works out. Thank you, and please subscribe and watch videos because they are there for your educational purpose. Bye.